What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Jose Show. Happy Tuesday. Now let's get into the hot topics. Now I'll start off with Justin Baldoni because this isn't the first time that Justin Baldoni gets into hot water. While Blake Lively isn't the only person claiming that Justin Baldoni harassed them, TMZ has learned that there's another person who may end up testifying in court with similar allegations. So, in new legal docs obtained by TMZ, the person whose name has been redacted says they had repeated negative interactions with Mr. Baldoni and his associates, including verbal abuse by Mr. Baldoni. Well, a source with knowledge tells TMZ the person worked on different projects with JB, not It Ends With Us, and they're likely to testify against Justin in Blake's trial. So, the new accuser claims Justin was not permitted on set during the majority of production as a result of those experiences. The person also says they requested Baldoni not be involved in marketing or public relations efforts. Alright, so Blake's trial is currently scheduled to begin March 9 in a federal courthouse in New York. So, Blake's also now requesting Justin pay her attorney fees, and a rep for Lively tells us, well, TMZ, that California law expressly prohibits suing victims who speak out against sexual harassment or retaliation, whether in court or in the press. This is really interesting that Blake Lively is once again in hot water, especially now with this new accuser, because this is already coming to show that this dude is actually not a really good person. Because if we're talking about multiple people now accusing Justin Baldoni of harassment, then I believe that there is definitely something in the hides here. And by that I mean I believe that there is definitely something that Justin Baldoni has been wanting to keep a secret for so many years, because Justin Baldoni has been wanting to keep his name clean for so many years now. But in reality, there are dirty things going on in the scenes that we don't know, and that's really scary. Now, a lot of things are going to be coming to light in the coming days, or maybe once this trial gets to begin in March, because that is when a lot of things are going to be revealing that maybe Blake Lively was the victim of sexual abuse, or maybe she was the victim of a lot of weird, awful, violent things by Justin Baldoni that we don't know of. And maybe this new accuser is going to say something similar, and this new accuser is going to be like, okay, well, not only do I want to win this lawsuit, but I also maybe want a temporary restraining order or a restraining order permanently from this guy, because this guy really did me a lot of harm in the past. And I wouldn't even be surprised if Blake Lively even ends up doing the same thing too, because I mean, if you are the victim of a harasser, then I mean, the first thing that you want is to stay away from that harasser. You do not want that harasser to continue to harass you, even if that person hasn't harassed you in years, because you never know what could happen after the lawsuit ends. Because, you know, unfortunately, with these kind of people that harass you, they want to go off and pull revenge on you. And God forbid that it ends up being something very, very bad, to the point that maybe they might end up raping you or killing you or God knows what, because of the fact that they are very mad about the fact that you are suing them and that you would end up winning the lawsuit, which could probably happen with Blake Lively against Justin Baldoni and this new accuser against Justin Baldoni as well. So with all of that being said, I really am siding with Blake Lively and with this new accuser here, because honestly, I just think that it is about damn time that women get to speak up and say, you know what, hey, we need to really speak up and, you know, actually put these people held accountable for their own actions, and really make everyone know who these people really are behind the scenes, instead of, you know, having all of these dumb people think that these harassers are good people when in reality they're not really good people. Because I mean, I can imagine that unfortunately a lot of people are thinking that Justin Baldoni is a good person and that he actually did a lot of good things and so forth, but in reality he wasn't really the good person that people have been thinking that he is. And what really makes me sick here is that, you know, this has been going on for like months now, with the whole entire Blake Lively Justin Baldoni situation, where, you know, Blake Lively has been accusing Justin Baldoni of harassment and so forth. And then I believe Blake Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, has been involved in this whole entire lawsuit, if I'm not mistaken, because of course Ryan Reynolds wants to be there for his wife, and of course Ryan Reynolds loves Blake Lively because Blake Lively is his wife, of course. But Blake Lively has also been trying to get Taylor Swift to get involved, but Taylor Swift doesn't want to have anything to do with this because I don't think that Taylor Swift has anything to do with the fact that Justin Baldoni was harassing Blake Lively, you know? But at the same time, I mean, I completely understand as to why Blake Lively wanted to get Taylor Swift involved into all of this because she feels like since Taylor Swift is the bestie, she will definitely back her up in anything, including this. But I mean, I don't even think that Taylor Swift is even, you know, a witness of all of this to begin with. So, anywho, I really think here that this is going to end up being a huge chaos when this whole entire lawsuit ends up starting in March. Because honestly, I think that there's just going to be a lot of, you know, he said, she said, and this is a lie, this is not a lie, this is true, this is not true, and so forth. And then, you know, it's going to end up being to a point where then unfortunately Justin Baldoni is maybe going to end up being that typical narcissist that might end up blaming Blake Lively for all of what had happened, and that Blake Lively is going to end up looking like the villain supposedly, just so Justin Baldoni can end up not losing in this lawsuit after all, and just so Blake Lively can end up losing instead. So it's like going to be definitely a throwing jabs type of situation, and it's going to be very ugly. You know, like it's just so unbelievable though that from working together in a TV show and from being good co-stars, now all of a sudden there is a bunch of things coming to light that really happened behind the scenes that we don't know of. You know, I mean, if Justin Baldoni is really the good person here, let's just say, then I mean, hey, Justin Baldoni has the proof. He needs to speak up and he needs to say exactly who he really is as a person in order for all of us to believe that he's actually a good person and he's not really the bad person that Blake is portraying him to be. But I mean, since this guy is just sitting here and just keeping quiet and he's not really saying straightforward that he is the victim, he is the innocent one, and that he would never do such a thing and so forth, and actually, you know, proving to us with at least, I don't know, a few evidences here and there at least on social media, maybe, then I mean, as long as he's not doing that, then hey, I mean, we can't believe that this guy is actually a really good person. You know, we can't believe that this guy is actually someone that you can rely on in the work environment. So this is really delicate, ladies and gentlemen, what I am hearing here. So anyways, good luck to Blake Lively and this whole entire lawsuit, which is going to start in March. Good luck. All right, especially to the new accuser. All right, now on to the next topic. Now let's talk about something really delicate. So a Tesla registered to singer David, a popular singer with millions of streams, is under a police microscope after a body was found inside the vehicle at a Hollywood tow yard. So LAPD tells TMZ that officers responded Monday after receiving a report of a foul odor coming from the Tesla. Cops say human remains were found and the case is now being treated as a death investigation. So, according to ABC7, the remains were found in a bag inside the car's trunk. The Tesla has been sitting at the tow yard for the past couple days. Authorities have not released the person's identity. So TMZ confirmed with police the Tesla is registered in Hempstead, Texas to David Anthony Burke, David's real name. Alright, so meanwhile, David is set to take the stage Tuesday in Minneapolis, all a part of his world tour that kicked off last month. Okay, so the 20-year-old has quickly emerged as a rising star with hits like Here With Me and Romantic Homicide, each racking up over 1 billion streams. He also boasts millions of followers across social media. So this is really insane. I think that the fact that this guy unfortunately owns a car where there is a dead person in his car is definitely not a romantic homicide. It is definitely a scary homicide, first and foremost. And personally, it really shocks me that a dead person would end up being in his car because, I mean, this guy David is out here touring and he's been busy touring. So I believe that the last thing, in my opinion, is that he would go off and have a little bit of time to even go off and put a dead person into his car or kill someone and then put the dead person into his car. Considering the fact that this guy isn't even a bad person, I believe, because I mean, this person is a Christian and I believe that he has been well known for reading the Bible on TikTok and so forth, and he is a rising star anyways. He doesn't want to be ruining his own career at all, and he doesn't want to spend the rest of his life in prison at all. So we really need to connect the dots here instead of getting into conclusions here that maybe this guy would go up and put a dead body into his own car. And it really sounds like it that somebody that must know this guy and that must hate this guy so much went off and put a dead body into David's car, so that way David could go off and look like he is the one that did it and that he is the bad person, just so he could end up being in prison, like I said. So we really need to look into this really deeper further in, instead of, automatically thinking that, oh my God, well, maybe David is going to end up in prison for the rest of his life as well. No. Okay, and by the way, there is a update on TMZ as of 9:26 a.m. and it says that law enforcement sources tell TMZ that the body found in the Tesla was chopped up and heavily decomposed. So the medical examiner will determine the exact cause of death. So anyways, that's really even more scary, by the way, that the body was chopped up. Oh my goodness. I don't even want to imagine, man, that situation happening here. Okay, now, if this guy went off and drove the car and he didn't smell anything, then I believe that he must be sick, he must have a cold, or maybe his nose doesn't detect well smells or something, because apparently I believe that everybody can be detecting a foul odor in their own car or wherever, especially when it comes to a dead body. Oh my goodness. So with all of that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I really am hopeful that this guy is not the one that ended up putting the dead body, especially chopping the dead body and putting it into his car. And I'm hoping that law enforcement will do what they can in order to catch the person that actually put this dead body into David's car. And also maybe there could be evidence in some surveillance cameras, hopefully, that somebody else was the one that ended up doing all of this in the first place, and it wasn't David in the first place. Okay, so we really need to be in so much prayer of this, that the people that ended up doing this get to be held accountable for what they did. Okay, now on to the next topic. So apparently Tyler Perry gets to join the list of accused harassers because apparently the actor suing Tyler Perry for sexual assault and harassment is going on national TV to double down on his salacious claims against the billionaire, recounting the first alleged incident. So Derek Dixon, who had a role on Tyler's long-running TV show The Oval, sat down with ABC News and told Lindsay Davis about his alleged interactions with Tyler. So apparently, asked about the first alleged instance of sexual harassment, Derek says, I got into bed and then I noticed that he climbed into bed with me as well and started rubbing my leg. I jumped up out of bed. Okay, so apparently Derek also tells Lindsay unless someone has been through something where they have their control over their bodies taken away, you don't really understand the kind of feelings that you get in that moment. Alright, so apparently the full interview is airing tonight on ABC News Live Prime, and this is all the network's released at this point, but TMZ doesn't know much more from the lawsuit. Okay, so this is really insane that Tyler Perry is being accused of sexual harassment here, because I have never seen Tyler Perry as that kind of person. I have always seen Tyler Perry to be a comedic symbol in television, especially since like the 90s when he got to portray Medea. And man, he really played that role so well. He was so hilarious in that role. But anyways, he also has been very kind, very friendly towards everyone in Hollywood. And he's always been the kind of person that has always been easy to, get with, and has always been very, that type of person that is more than just your friend. He's like your brother, I have always seen him to be that person, but never in a million years would it really come to me in my own head that he would end up being the harasser. He would end up being the bad person. He would end up being the person that you can't trust at all. Okay, I think And I'm hoping that this person is actually falsely accusing Tyler Perry just for money because he knows that Tyler Perry is super rich because of the fact that Tyler Perry, of course, is super huge. And that's all. Okay, because to me, it would be really sad and it would be really scary that Tyler Perry would end up being a sexual harasser behind the scenes and that he would end up being somebody that is definitely not to trust. Okay, and it would also be really sad to me just having to imagine just that Tyler Perry would go off and touch your thighs and go off and do a bunch of other weird things towards you. Honestly, I feel it so well that I believe that Derek is just, somebody that is just trying to find a way to maybe just either get money from him or just ruin his own career because maybe Derek maybe has something against Tyler and wants to pull a revenge on him and so forth and blah, blah, blah. I really hope so, man. Because honestly, if this is actually true, ladies and gentlemen, then you know what? Tyler Perry's career is over. Tyler Perry is going to be seen as maybe Bill Cosby or maybe as Justin Baldoni or maybe as these other accusers of sexual harassment. And then later on, a lot of people aren't going to be seeing Tyler Perry the same anymore like we have been for so many years. And many people are going to boycott Medea. Many people are going to point fingers at Tyler Perry that he should be out of Hollywood and so forth. And the next thing we know it, Tyler Perry is maybe going to get banned from the Emmys, the Oscars, and because of things like this, it's going to be so ugly. I mean, we really need to just, sit here and just wait on, the things that Tyler Perry has to say about all of this because, I'm pretty sure that Tyler Perry does have his own version of his own story here on what is going on in between him and this Derek guy instead of, it's just him keeping quiet, and if he really is the kind of person, by the way, that is an innocent person, then trust me, Tyler Perry, I'm pretty sure is going to have a lot of good evidence with him and good lawyers with him that are going to back him up and say, hey, well, Tyler Perry is actually a really good guy. He would never be sexually harassing anybody, nor especially touching somebody's thighs and going into somebody's bedroom and climbing on top of them and so forth, So this is really interesting at the same time because, I mean, this is happening. This accusation thing is happening just like years after the alleged incident. This incident didn't happen just yesterday. This incident didn't just happen a year ago. It happened like many years ago. So that's really interesting. So, anywho, let's see what happens next and good luck to Tyler Perry. All right, now on to the next topic. Now, Jennifer Lopez no longer has anything to do with Ben Affleck, but apparently Jennifer Lopez was still committed to taking out Ben Affleck's son for lunch the other day, and Jennifer Lopez's daughter was also committed to being on the lunch date as well. So apparently, Jennifer Lopez got to add a pair of low-rise black pants to the ensemble as she walked with Emmy and Samuel, Ben's 13-year-old son. And apparently there are pictures that show that Samuel looks a little like his dad in a t-shirt and some pale shorts as he follows behind J-Lo. Alright, so Ben of course was not in the outing, just Samuel hanging out with his former stepmom and step-sibling, which makes sense when you consider how close the families are when they were linked by marital bonds. So this is really insane that Jennifer Lopez was with Ben Affleck's son the other day out for lunch because I thought that Jennifer Lopez didn't want to have anything to do with the Afflecks anymore after Jennifer Lopez got to split from Ben Affleck because a split is so darn emotional that you don't want to have anything to do with the person. You don't want to have anything to do with the family anymore. You just want to be by yourself and that's it. But I think that Jennifer Lopez still had Ben Affleck's son in her head because I believe that in her head, maybe Jennifer Lopez wants to get back together with Ben Affleck. And in order to do that, she is over here getting along with his son and maybe trying to convince his son to talk to his dad and to maybe getting back together with her. And maybe there will be another, love thing going on and so forth. That's what it really seems like it, because I mean it's a little weird and suspicious that all of a sudden, out of like months after a breakup, Jennifer Lopez is all of a sudden hanging out with Ben Affleck's son, you know? And it's so darn funny too, like, especially because I mean Jennifer Lopez is like, I believe talking and talking and talking just about Ben Affleck towards Ben Affleck's son, maybe. Like, oh yeah, your dad was so nice to me. Oh, your dad was so this to me. Your dad was so that to me, and blah, blah, blah. And then I believe that Ben Affleck's son might be like, okay, well, I definitely think I know what is going on here. I believe that JLo wants to get back together with my dad. So I think that's what's going on here. Okay, and then Emmy is just, like, yeah, you know what? You should tell your dad to back together with my mom. Come on now, and so forth. Um, and there is no freaking doubt that they really had really good lunch, by the way, because I mean, since Jennifer Lopez, I mean, does have all of the money of the world, I can imagine that she had a really good amount of money to be paying for really fancy food for lunch anyways, which by the way is already making me hungry. So anywho, this is like definitely some type of thing where maybe JLo is like, I don't know, trying to be the person that is like, like, okay, I can do this in one way. I can do this in one way. And that's definitely talking to Ben Affleck's son. And let's see how it goes. Let's see. I think so. I think so. Okay. But anyways, good luck to JLo if that's what she's aiming towards to. Good luck to her. And that is it for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's lovely show, The Jose Show. Till next time, and peace.